Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the 10th episode of DC Animation with Spenser and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I'm joined by a dear relative, a dear family member today. Would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Well, thank you, Spencer. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Harris. I've been Spencer's cousin for as long as he's been alive. So even before he was alive, when he was in the womb. So yes, he is a very, very dear relative. I love him so much, and I appreciate you having me on the show today.
So, it's not a problem at all. I think we'll have a good time with this.
I'm happy to. This is my first time, so I'm happy to be here. So cool.
So, Jason, real quick, tell me about your DC consumption. Comic books, video games, movies, TV shows. What DC have you consumed over your time?
I'm not going to say I'm like a super or uber fan, but I mean more than the casual, I'd say. Batman, Superman, Aquaman. I mean, I'm trying to think. Darkseid is one of my favorite. Lex Luthor is probably, like I said, one of my favorite villains, I'd say, of all time, regardless of DC, Marvel, you name it. I've always loved Lex Luthor, the idea of the super genius. And then, I'm not going to front, when they, made Lex Luthor black, I don't know when they started doing that. It was, the greatest thing ever. So, I don't know which ones he appears to be black now. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, but movies, comics as a kid, not so much here lately, probably. Of course, back in the day, when I was a kid, any kind of DC toys or action figures were super cool too. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm probably more than the average casual fan, but not a super fan, but I definitely follow. So.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I appreciate you joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is All-Star Superman, released February 22nd, 2011, and the comic book on which it was based is of the same name. I will read a synopsis in my own words, and then we're just going to talk about it.
Cool.
So, we open to Superman's origin story being spoken in short bursts and a space crew is on a ship near the sun. Aboard the spacecraft, one of the crew members turns into a large monster, kills somebody, and lets them know that death is on the menu and Lex Luthor is handling the tab. Luckily, Superman is able to save the day. The trip to the sun overexposes Superman to solar radiation, which has made him more powerful, but is slowly killing him, which Lex Luthor knew would happen. Lex Luthor gets arrested, and Clark reveals to Lois that he is Superman. He takes her to his house, the Fortress of Solitude, and gives her a little tour. She comes across a room where it looks like a creepy Lois doll is being made, and Superman tells her that that's the only room in the fortress that she should not be in. That's the only place off limits. Lois is super skeptical about Superman suddenly being up front, and after all this time, so she lights his ass up with a kryptonite gun, only to see that it has no effect on him. He then gives her a serum that will give her superpowers for 24 hours, that will give her Superman superpowers for 24 hours. Lex Luthor is put on trial and found guilty of crimes against humanity, and so then there are giant lizards attacking Metropolis, and Lois is flying around with her new powers and whatnot. So she and Superman end up running into Samson and Atlas. They are trying to have Lois, and they give her the crown jewels of the Ultra Sphinx, which summons the Ultra Sphinx. Superman is asked the unanswerable question, which of course he answers, and he then destroys Samson and Atlas in an arm wrestle. Clark Kent meets with Lex Luthor for an interview, and while working out, Lex Luthor is talking all the shit. They walk by Parasite, who gets just a little sniff of Superman's power and goes apeshit. Superman is able to get all of the officers out and subdue Parasite, all while managing to keep Lex safe. Lex then explains that he's perfectly fine with getting the chair because he knows that he killed Superman. So as long as Superman dies before he does, he's fine. So, he then admits, Superman then admits to Lois that he is dying. Superman leaves and comes back and finds that two Kryptonians have found their way to Earth and have started kind of taking over. So, of course, they begin fighting and they throw Superman into the moon and then back to Earth. Shortly thereafter, they grow weak due to pretty much a kryptonite virus they contracted on their trip to Earth, so Superman sends them to the Phantom Zone. Superman pays a quick visit to Lex before they give him the chair. Oh, but he drank the 24-hour Superman serum, so he just ruins everybody's day in the room. Superman writes his last journal entry and prepares to fight Lex Luthor, who has made the sun red just, for insurance. Superman goes to space to fight Solaris, however you want to say it, and he is able to get the W. Clark shows up to finish the story about Superman dying and passes out. Then Lex Luthor shows up and puts Lois in danger, so Superman wakes up and hits Lex with the gravity gun. So they start fighting, and Lex is just beating his ass. But Lex starts to take in everything that he's able to see and realizes that he could have saved the world as his powers are wearing off. Then Superman flies into the sun. Lois is in denial about Superman dying, and Lex gives Dr. Quintum Superman's genetic code. And that is the movie.
That is it. Yes.
So, Jason, what were your thoughts on the movie?
So I have mixed feelings about this particular movie. I've seen it a few times, several times. Of course, I rewatched it. On one hand, they try to jam pack a lot of shit into one movie. There are things about it, like this is jam packed, like the Samson and what's the other dude? I can't think of his name. Atlas, completely fucking unnecessary to any plot point of the movie, other than just for other shit to be happening. The two other Kryptonians who are like all, egotistical and you should take over this planet, and they get defeated out easily. And then they like go to the Phantom Zone and then they're like happy. Like everybody in the Phantom Zone is miserable. But then like all of a sudden they're hand in hand and they're like, oh, Phantom Zone is where we wanted to be all along. There's a lot of stuff jam-packed into this movie. Too much, personally. There's a couple things about it. I'm going to get to why I have mixed feelings. I haven't got to the mixed feelings yet. So far, I'm just into why I don't like it. Lex Luthor. I love Lex Luthor. Super genius. And it's like, so throughout all this shit, you couldn't figure out that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. Like there was all kinds of interaction between the two. I at least wanted it to happen at the end of the movie. Okay, I just went off about all the things that kind of bother me about the movie. But the thing that I like about it, it's kind of jacked up because it's going to bother me too. But I feel like, and this is just the man in me, that basically Superman's like, all right, I'm about to die, right? I'm trying to get with this Lois Lane chick for the longest time. But basically, I'm a super dude, and if I fuck Lois Lane, I'm going to kill her. So I'm going to make a super serum so I can get like one night with Lois Lane and get busy. And I feel like, all right, that's like the G move, like, or I'm gonna make this thing happen. But then he still doesn't get it. It's I don't know. It's like she passes out at the end. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna die of blue balls. But so I mean, I like that aspect of it. And then they hint at Lois Lane and Clark Kent having kids, right? He's looking at his descendants in the future, and Lois like, he looks like my granddad. Superman's like, oh yeah. So it's like at that point, Superman's like, yeah, I'm about to get them draws. But then he still doesn't. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of whack. But anyway, I like the move though. Like, yeah, I gotta make this happen. I'm about to be gone. I can't leave this earth without those draws. So I like that aspect of it. But I'm still torn. Like, there's a lot. First of all, he didn't get him. Let's go there. And I'm a nice, upstanding man. You know, he was in love with Lois Lane. He wasn't just trying to, you know, be a dirtbag or anything. But it's just a lot going on in this movie. Like, they tried to get like 2 or 3 movies. There's a bunch of storylines here, jam-packed into one pretty brief movie. I don't even think it's a whole hour and a half. I think it's like 75 minutes. Yeah. There's about 3 or 4 movies jam-packed into this one movie. But, you know, I still love my Lex Luthor, super genius dude, even though he doesn't come off as the greatest in this movie. But, I mean, he never does, right? It's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's his MO.
Yeah, he's not supposed to come off as the greatest, but still.
Okay.
But there's a lot going on, man. I mean, I think we could definitely dive deeper into a lot of the storylines. So, but to me, the most interesting is probably like the whole Lois Lane, and I'm gonna get Lois Lane, you know, superpowers for a day, just so you know, so it's all good.
All right.
I think that's my motivation.
Oh, it's so funny. Well, all right. Yes, I agree in that this movie tries to do a lot in an hour 15.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of a consequence of the time period, because that's what DC Animation was doing. They were doing like under an hour, 30-minute. They were doing standalone stories, because this is a standalone story that happens outside of any continuity in the comic book. And I mean, I think that's because he dies.
Right. And he dies, and then like you said, Lois, like, oh, I don't believe it. Like, he's in the sun. Even like the end shot where it's like a still of Superman working some machine in the sun, like, oh, but he's alive in there. There's hope. No, he's dead.
No, so, dead.
Yeah.
And if not dead, gone.
Yeah, he's not returning. So whatever he was, he is no longer. We'll say that.
Exactly. And I can appreciate that. Like, it ends, because Superman is kind of guilty of creating the whole idea that like superheroes just don't die, or they can't die, or they never die. They're always brought back, or they're never actually dead, or any of that. Like, that's like,
yeah, that's... even they discuss that in the movie. Even Lex Luthor makes there's a quote in the movie where Luthor talks about the reason for him getting power is like, you know, he's getting older and Superman isn't. You know, this fear that Superman is going to live forever. So there goes back to Lex being like, you know, my hero villain. He's like, man, this dude's gonna live forever. I gotta do something about that. Lex did something about it. He actually killed Superman. He did something about it. This Superman's reign of terror was going to last forever. So
yeah, because like in Lex Luthor's mind, like we need, I mean, same as Batman, like we need to have an answer.
Yeah.
For this motherfucker, because he could end everything today.
Everything about Superman is, you know, is his benevolence is based on him being raised in Kansas as a farm boy and just having these good old fashioned morals and, you know,
just upstanding parents or whatever.
He never gets angry. He doesn't do anything in anger. Like, that's not, but you want us to believe he's human, but a part of his superhuman ability is his ability to be good and just, right?
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say is like, we know how humans with those kind of powers would behave. We know how humans with no powers behave. And the fact that he, you know, has all of these powers and he's still like, I think that how he handles himself is a superpower. Because, like, Wonder Woman, for example, does not play around. Wonder Woman is a broken Xbox. She don't play no games. She gets right to it. I saw a video that's just so funny to me. It's of Wonder Woman just fighting, and it's Mystical freestyling. And he says, if you ever see me in the forest fighting with a grizzly bear, help the bear.
Right.
That's Wonder Woman.
That's Wonder Woman, yeah. So, yes.
But
Wonder Woman is about that life.
yeah. And so one of Superman's powers is goodness, because I mean, very few humans on Earth would behave like Superman with his powers.
Right.
But yeah, one of the things that I do like about this movie and this series is that he dies and there's no revives, no respawn. Like he's done and it ends.
Yeah, it's not like a coming back from the grave, or he's gonna dematerialize and then rematerialize. Like he's dead. Even the explanation as far as okay, well, we know he's got these descendants, and he and Lois didn't get busy like he had planned. So how's that happen? And like they explain that, like, we got some DNA. We're gonna find a host, which is Lois, and there you go.
Yeah, healthy human woman, and get it going.
He's not coming back to lay that pipe. So yeah, that's it.
So before we get into the movie itself, what were your thoughts on the artwork or the art style that this movie chose in comparison to anything that you've already seen or just on its own?
I mean, it's I can appreciate it. I'll say that. I mean, I like what they're doing. Some of the more graphic stuff nowadays. I mean, that time period, it's like they were trying to make it look more like the old comics, I guess, right? I mean, even for the time period that it was actually created, I mean, things have a different look to them. Almost like they wanted to look old timey, but not at the same time.
Like a more crisp like a more crisp, older style.
But I mean, like if you change some of the costumes in that and said, okay, this is a 50s version or something like that. I mean, you could still, I guess I'm talking more about the way that the faces and the characters are drawn,
Mm-hmm.
the bodies. Maybe like I really appreciate some, like I said, I like things dark. I like the dark comics. I like the blood and the gore. I like the things being graphic. But I can certainly appreciate this still to a certain degree. Like I said, to me, this is told in a more nostalgic, or written or drawn in a more nostalgic way. So I can appreciate it. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I can remember a time when all the comics kind of look like this. So yeah.
Okay. And what about the voice cast?
Dude, okay, I'm trying to remember who played Superman.
It's not somebody that I think I recognized.
Oh, it was though. Oh crap. I don't think who was it. Let me I'll look it up right quick.
I said we do have that.
Yeah, I should have had that up already. All-Star Superman. Who was Superman? No, I don't know that dude.
Yeah, like I didn't recognize. I just because I listen and see if I can like recognize anybody just from listening to them before I like read the cast list. And
yeah. No, who I'm thinking of is the guy who played Lex Luthor, Anthony LaPaglia or whatever. I did recognize him. The guy who plays Superman, James Denton. I've seen him, but he's not a voice I'm necessarily looking for or thinking about. Ed Asner is Perry White. I mean, that was a recognizable voice.
Yeah, I knew who that was.
Anna Hendricks was Lois Lane until just now when I looked it up.
And I, as far as like the voices that I recognized, I of course recognized Perry White, and then I recognized Atlas because he's the same guy who voices Sub-Zero in the newer Mortal Kombat games. So I recognized him, but usually I can pull his voice from nowhere. But yeah, like everybody else, I couldn't identify without looking at the cast sheet. And as far as like the performances, I wasn't. I mean, they weren't bad, but I wasn't like impressed. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you said, this is one of those standalone movies. I don't feel like anybody who's cast in this movie, they would think, oh, we're gonna have you do this character in the next one or another one. It's like this is all one hit of quitters.
Yeah, one and done.
Yeah, one and done. Everybody on here, it's like, yeah, let's just get who we can get. Or hey, you guys, you always want to do a Superman voiceover, right? Yeah, come on in, let's do this. So you always want to be Lois, sure. So yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said, for what the movie is trying to do, like you said, a one-off, its own little universe, it's actually perfect because you don't associate any of those voices with any other movie or series, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, yeah, as good as it helps it stand alone in its own universe. So
yeah, I think that pulling new people in, as far as I know, people that haven't done these characters before, was a good move in that regard.
Yeah, I could agree with that. And like I said, they're the voice actors aren't superstars, but they're people you've seen before, or they're not unknowns.
Yes, like it's a pretty solid cast of people.
Yeah.
I guess from my perspective, but yeah, like I said, I was happy with it. Okay, so let's talk about the movie itself. Before we get into all of the details of the movie specifically, I love Man of Steel. Man of Steel is one of my favorite. Matter of fact, it is my favorite live action Superman situation.
Okay.
That may be a hot take based on the other live action Superman movies, but that's how I feel.
I was trying to come with an argument against it, could not. So when we're talking about Superman, it's funny you say that. I was talking to Jonathan, my brother, the other day, and we were talking about who's the best Superman. And Henry Cavill, definitely. You think of all the Supermans.
That's my choice.
Yeah. I mean, he's it. He is the best Superman, which kind of makes what's going on right now with DC, live action DC, kind of suck, because I don't think Henry Cavill was done.
That is my understanding.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, he is done, but I didn't.
Yeah, he didn't want to be done, as far as I know.
Yeah, he hadn't. I get it. I mean, they're trying to, go younger, but I didn't feel like he had aged out just yet. I thought we could get another.
I think he's got another decade in him for it.
I mean, if what's the name is still doing Wolverine movies, God damn it. I mean, I think I would do another Superman or two, right?
Yeah. So, that's true. But Hugh Jackman, yeah, like he's
like 60.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And he wasn't a young buck when he started necessarily.
Correct. And he's gotten like more ripped with time. Like when I think early Wolverine and I think late Wolverine, I'm like, they were dehydrating him or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's definitely more jacked now. So,
yeah, how are you? Like, you're Photoshop ripped.
Right.
But anyway, yes. So, I pretty immediately saw a lot of the parallels that happened in Man of Steel and in this. Yeah. Because I guess I didn't realize how much of this story Man of Steel pulled from, but it's very clear. Like, I think that there's a lot that happened in Man of Steel that also happened in this. Like, even there were some lines that I remember. Like, the lady Kryptonian said to Clark, like, you could have rebuilt Krypton in this squalor.
Yeah.
Which is what Zod says to him.
Zod says, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because Zod had the lines in that movie. I loved Zod in that movie. The way Superman and Lex were fighting was very reminiscent of when Superman and Zod were fighting in the other one. I think there's even in Man of Steel, I think there's like a monologue that Jor-El has that's almost verbatim from All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
But anyway, I enjoyed that.
No,
Now,
I mean, and I can appreciate, like you said, I think we both agree also Superman is not the greatest Superman movie, but it's got some elements. And the fact that somebody was able to pull those elements out, put them in a live action movie, and kind of flip it and take the best parts of it, add to it and turn it into something really great. Yeah. Says something more about Man of Steel, but yeah.
Yeah.
Writers there.
Okay. So we open to Lex Luthor's master plan to overexpose Clark to sunlight or to sun radiation. Now, I think that is one of the examples of why Lex is your favorite. Would I be correct in saying that? The fact that he was able to deduce that this is the way to kill Superman, and he orchestrated an elaborate plan to make sure that it happened.
Right.
Now, of course, this is a standalone story because I'm pretty sure that there are other stories where Superman flies into the sun and does not have this problem.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think he's gotten pretty close to the sun before, and he's never been oversaturated.
Yeah, because I feel like there are even stories where like he spends time in the sun and just becomes like absurdly powerful.
Yeah, which, and when you think about, I mean, the whole invincibility factor of Superman, anyway. So it's like, so his one, well, I can't say kryptonite, but the thing that'll kill him would be too much power. Like, we could have done that a long time ago, then, right? But okay, but for the movie, we'll make it work.
Yeah. And they definitely, because Superman has always been, I think, compared to Jesus, and I think that this movie's heavy-handed with that.
Yes. The symbolism, the bearing our sin, saving us all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's got his everyday tasks, not tasks or miracles, but yeah, in this one in particular, yeah, the symbolism is there. Yeah,
and I mean, they even brought in Greek mythology because Samson was like, you will perform these labors that will
labors, yeah,
and it's like, all right, so Hercules is sprinkled in there. That's cool. And that's fine. I mean, that's what we're doing. Like, this is the time to be heavy-handed, I guess. But so yeah, Lex orchestrates the plan. Superman gets super irradiated, and he is like, because he was already pretty stupid powerful, but like being in the sun made him smarter and stronger and faster. Like it made him more unstoppable than he already was.
Right.
I don't understand how it made him smarter, but okay.
Yeah, that one too. I remember raising an eyebrow at that line. Okay. But it's like, all right. I don't know if they were trying to, because my thing was Superman was always supposed to be super intelligent also, right?
Yeah, like that was a part of his thing.
I was like, okay, are they trying to say like Lex was his equal prior to this and now he's not? Is that where they were trying to go? I felt like that's what they're like, it's like they dumbed down Superman like previous Superman. Like, he's like, he was smart, but because remember, you made a comment like he didn't start doing all these things until after he had been irradiated and exposed. And then he started doing all these things in the Fortress of Solitude, fixing up the boats and doing all this other stuff with
looking into the future.
Yeah, like these were projects he already had going. It's like, he just figured this stuff out after the fact. So, I mean, the Superman I remember from the comics and some of the other stories, I mean, he was a sharp cat.
Yeah, he was still doing stuff. Because like he was trying to cure cancer and like he was doing other things, but and that's one of the things is I think that I remember seeing a story where Superman is attempting to cure cancer and is having issues with it, and then I think Lex cures cancer and then is like, make it a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
like lower the dosage, make it over 5, something to that effect. Just kind of solidifying that Lex is a piece of shit in that regard, but whatever. So he brings Lois to the fortress, and she is exposed to some kind of gas that makes her super paranoid. And I think her paranoia was reasonable. Like, I don't think that her being paranoid was...
I mean, he's like checking out the DNA. I mean, he's clearly spying on her. I mean, this dude has even like there's certain things that are funny to me. Like the whole, I thought that she sniffs the gas, she gets paranoid. I was like, is it innuendo to weed or something like that? But like the whole thing with like Superman can like see through. She's like, don't look at me, I'm getting dressed, and he's like, I can see through clothes. I can, if I want to check you out naked anytime, but I'm wholesome. I'm going to turn away. I'm going to turn around while you're getting dressed, as if I couldn't just look through your clothes at any damn point I want to.
Yeah, understand. I can see your skeleton right now.
Right now. I'm going to turn around while you're getting dressed, as if that is going to be the thing. When I'm just looking at you in your eyes, I'm not looking through your head. But
understand that, like, I have X-ray vision. You should be lucky you don't have cancer.
Right? That's like something from The Boys. Like, giving everybody cancer. Where's the kids? Because where I've been looking.
Yeah. I think Family Guy has a joke about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so she, smokes the weed or smells the weed and gets super paranoid, which, again, her paranoia is reasonable in my opinion, because she is in the middle of nowhere with this man who has all of the powers. And yeah, I think that, and as you mentioned, he was trying to get some butt. Yeah. And she's like, he's going to try to put super babies in me.
Drink this drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think her paranoia is like reasonable. And I don't.
You said something, and I have to stop you because it was something you just said. The middle of nowhere thing, right? Mm-hmm. He flies her out there in the middle of nowhere. And this, when I was watching, I was like, why the hell? Why is he carrying her in her car? Why did he bring her car? She's like sitting in the car. He's like outside carrying the car, and he's like talking to her and shit. They're having a conversation like he's in. I'm like, was it because it's cold? I'm trying to figure out. Why did he carry? Because she's not going to drive home. I mean, what was that? What are you going to do with your car once it's there? Like,
because was there a problem with her car? Because did he tell the robots like, hey, fix the car up or something?
Yeah, but he said like fix any of the damage that occurred on the way over here. Like, what? Like,
yeah, why bring the car then?
Why bring the car? Yeah, like, it was just a weird. Something added, like that's one of those things. Like if you see that in a live action movie, you're like, oh, there must have been a scene that was cut that explained why this was necessary, and it just is a bad edit. It's like, oh, this is the what's the dude? This isn't the Zack Snyder cut. Josh Whedon cut. Like these things don't make sense. They're in here for no reason. Yeah. So
I agree. I forgot about that. Like. Why? Yeah,
Why did you bring her in the car? Because if you think about all the Superman movies before, I mean, he's taken Lois to the Fortress of Solitude. He's done these things before, but he's never had to put her in anything.
Yeah, he just has her in his arms.
Yeah, and if you did, why the car?
And I think that your reasoning, like it's cold, is as good as reasons are going to get.
The only logical response I can come up with is it's cold, but still it's...
Or the other thing, and again, this is like if we're trying to apply logic, if he was holding her and flying at a certain speed, her neck, like she's done. She's going to die. So maybe being in the car allowed him to fly faster with her.
I can't remember if she had her seatbelt on.
But yeah, like the G-force or whatever, like depending on how fast he was flying, her shit would have been snapped.
Yeah,
And so maybe if she's in a car that, because like thinking about like an astronaut in a seat can move a lot faster than an astronaut just loosey goosey.
yeah, I guess you hold the back of the neck or something like that. I don't know. That's actually from Marvel. What is Quicksilver's like? Yeah, I gotta hold your neck, otherwise I'll snap your neck. What is that from? One of those X Men movies? But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
Evan Peters says it, which is yeah,
yeah. I mean, it just was a weird thing to fly, and in the conversation, like he's outside carrying the car, and they're just having a random conversation. Like, can you even hear each other? I mean, I know he can hear you, but can you hear this dude talking outside their car, flying at Mach speed? I mean, like, what's going on here?
yeah, and
It should be ridiculous. So,
and I say this every time. I'm perfectly okay with him being able to fly at supersonic speeds. And
yeah.
there's a lot that I'm okay with, but like this little shit like that, I don't like it. Like for me to say anything doesn't make sense.
I would rather you just ignored it. Just cut to like you flying and then you there. Like
yeah. I think I agree. I would rather them have just like dropped to the front door.
Yeah.
Instead of like him dropping off her car and them being like, "Hey, robots, clean up any like windshield."
Yeah, like almost like he's showing off. Yeah, like I got my robot butlers here. Clean your car.
Yeah, I don't understand, but I'm glad we talked about that because it didn't even occur to me to be bothered by it.
It was like what? Why? God. But maybe like he had a master plan. Yeah, he was gonna bring her over, give her a little bit of drink, give her a little bit of dank, get them draws, and then like peace out, drive your own self home. Maybe that was his plan. So I don't know.
Stay toxic. All right.
Hey, that was his plan.
So speaking of toxic, what were your thoughts on Lois kind of flirting with Samson and Atlas, kind of just letting them talk crazy?
Yeah, it was kind of Lois was kind of. I wasn't rooting for Lois in this. I mean, she kind of went left on him with the paranoia, but even though it was warranted, don't get me wrong. I mean, she flirting with Samson, and then she treated Clark like shit. So
a little bit. Now, I'm going to attribute that to the fact that she, I guess, knew he was hiding something or whatever, because he hadn't told her he was going to die yet. That was the best benefit of the doubt that I could do, but I had trouble with her saying, this is what you get, Clark. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what? Like, she wasn't it was like, okay, this is like an early rendition of Lois and Clark before she has this fondness for. That was the thing. She had this fondness for Clark too. I mean, it's like almost like a Lois Lane. When you think about Lois Lane, you think of her as being this woman who's in love with two men. I'm in love with Superman. I'm in love with Clark Kent. I have to choose one. I'm not knowing that they're the same person, right? Mm-hmm. I have affection for both of these people. She didn't really sound like she had any affection for old Clarky boy there. So,
and I feel like that's what Lex points out. Like in a backwards way, Lex, whenever they're having the conversation, Lex is like, I like you, Clark, because you're everything he's not.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that hit his ears by saying, because you're everything that he's not, she don't give a fuck about Clark. Like that's how it hit his ear.
Yeah.
When Lex was actually saying, I admire you because you're nothing like him. Yeah, it's like, but Lois, opposite boat.
And Lex made a point too. I mean, he actually said it. He was like, look, he said strapping man. Like he basically was like, yeah, you buff, you know what I'm saying? You handsome, you comically clumsy, but you're a nice dude. He's like, Lois should be after you, but you're not this guy. You should hate this dude as much as I hate, is what he said.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Superman, you would be the G. Now, yeah. I mean, that's being a hater. Don't get me wrong. It's being a hater. But I understand, that was his motivation. But yeah, Lois was kind of, she was shitting on him a little bit. So.
And then told him it was his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, letting Samson and Atlas flirt and then being like, this is kind of what you get, Clark. So deal with it. And I mean, Clark handled it pretty well.
He's wholesome ass Clark.
Because he could have, that could have ended very badly.
Yeah.
But, and then Samson is like, hey, you got some tasks to do, but I'm flirting with Lois because you're not going to be here.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Hey, I got the headline right here. Superman's dead. So when you out, yeah, that chick is mine. So yeah, I'm
gonna just go ahead and take her now. Like,
go ahead, I'm just go ahead and lay the foundation. So lay this plumbing, lay this pipe afterwards.
So and then the whole thing with the Ultra Sphinx.
Yeah, there's a whole lot jam packed into that scene. I mean, you go from lizard people to the center of the earth to the Ultra. It's a whole lot going on, man.
Because the lizard people are only kind of explained. Like, I guess. Well, no, they're explained because I think Lois gives us some exposition and is like,
we're from the center of the earth. I mean, and I'm like, okay, I remember the lizard people thing. It ties back to some older comic book episodes and maybe some series, but it was just in the context of what was going on. It's just way too much.
Yeah, because I don't know how they ended up on Earth. Or how they ended up on the surface, I guess. But yeah.
Okay, there was a mention of Samson, who's the one who actually goaded them into trying to conquer the Lizard King or whatever. It was a Lizard Prince who was trying to rule the above ground, and Superman didn't kill him. Remember he threw him up into he threw him he threw him off the planet. It was like his lungs were bursting. I gotta go save this dude. Sam's like, I'm just kill this dude, right? So this guy goes save this dude. He saves his life. He brings him to the Lizard King. Lizard King, I'm sorry about my son. But he was goaded by Samson. Samson told him to. Superman's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so this dude created this catastrophe so they could go save somebody and look like heroes, which is another, whole move. I guess you could look at this movie as, Superman is a real G because he's surrounded by haters.
Yeah, and haters and sinners and people tempting him.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's like taking it all in stride. Like, all right, man,
Yeah, because he's like, I am going to die, and so I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to get as much done while I'm here that I'm able to do. And so yeah, Atlas and Samson get embarrassed and are forced to leave. And
they are, yeah.
And then we cut to Lex being interviewed by Clark. Now, as far as like in the prison, I usually when I see Parasite, he's a little more humanoid than that.
Yeah.
But I like the weird alien Parasite. Like that made sense to me. Now, one thing I'm not sure about is I thought he had to touch people to get their power.
Okay, and so I thought so too, because it was weird. It's like, okay, why is this dude just on Gen Pop? Like, he was in solitary to some degree, but there's like a bunch of people and like Superman's like, hey, that glass isn't leaded. He's gonna absorb our powers. Like, so if this dude could just absorb powers through osmosis, like what? Why
now,
are we?
I'm guessing that is an example of how powerful Superman was. Like he was,
right, because everybody else he touched, I thought.
Yeah, in order to suck the life out of people, he had to touch him. But I guess Superman had so much power coming off of him,
off his ass,
that he was just like, oh yeah. Now, how he was defeated makes no sense under the circumstances.
Zero. He's like all this power, and he's just under some rubble. And
I
jump down there and starts punching him. I'm gonna punch him. Like dude, this dude was like he's okay. Maybe he's crushed or can't lift this rock, but Lex is so strong he just punched this dude. And what? Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
Because Superman still wasn't very far away.
Yeah.
So he should have still
absorbing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've learned that if you crush somebody, doesn't matter how powerful they are, you can crush anybody. I learned that in Doctor Strange 2 when Captain Marvel got crushed. And then later when Wanda got crushed under the Darkhold. Like I learned that you can crush anybody and it's over.
Yeah, just put tons and tons of rock or something on them in there. Yeah, nothing beats, what is it?
Yeah, like weird scissors.
Yeah, exactly.
And rock always wins.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, even in rock, paper, scissors, like paper covers rock, rock's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
But yeah, still there though. Yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, the whole thing with Parasite also didn't make sense to me.
Not so much.
Because once he got Superman's power and Superman never got very far away from him, like Parasite should have won the day.
Man, which goes back to Lex Luthor's this smart dude, right? So he can't figure out that Clark is Superman.
Yeah, in that moment, it should have been very Parasite's never done this shit before, and all of a sudden he says the power of the sun, and just grows. Like that wasn't the evidence you needed. I'm sure you've walked past Parasite before, because he said he was trying to suck you dry.
Man, I must be stronger. Parasite, all the things that were going on, like, Clark stomps and the ground falls. He's an earthquake.
It's like, okay.
Okay. Clark disappears into the smoke, and then, things start, happening. I mean, like, Clark is always gone when Superman's around, or, something that, okay. I'm starting to put, 2 and 2 together. I think this is Lex Luthor. He's a very sharp guy. I think he should have figured this out by now. But this dude wasn't actually imprisoned. He had a whole nother secret tunnel. He wanted to.
Because Clark was like, you could leave anytime you want. Yeah. Why are you still? What are you doing? And so, yeah, I'm guessing it's the same reason that he puts on glasses and nobody seems to recognize him.
Yeah. I would love to be able to put on a pair of glasses and all of a sudden be completely unrecognizable as a human.
Yeah, everything about me just changes with a pair of glasses.
One of these glasses. Yeah, where'd he go?
Yeah, because they're the same size and they have the same hair color, same eye. Like,
they're not even sunglasses. They're just regular ass glasses.
They're just regular glasses. I've never understood how people, unless one of his superpowers is shifting people's perception of sight.
Yeah. I mean, it's nobody even said, man, Clark, man, you look a lot. I know you're not Superman because you said I'm clumsy, but you look a lot like him.
Yeah, there's a resemblance at a minimum.
Right. Exactly.
Because there are people who will say you look like all kinds of people you don't look like.
Which, it's always bothered me. I mean, the two people who that's always bothered me, not getting, even though they know at a certain point, Lex Luthor and Batman, y'all two motherfuckers should have known the first time you saw Clark Kent, hey, that's motherfucking Superman in his glasses, in a suit. That's what the fuck. Yeah.
And Batman does deduce it. But,
he does. But like I said, at the first glance,
Yeah, you should be able to look at him and be like, yep, I know exactly what's happening right now.
Right there. We're talking about two paranoid, super smart dudes, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, should have figured it out.
But, that's its own.
Man. And that's the only thing with Superman. Superman, that's why he's different than any other superhero. Because everybody else puts on their regular and they, put on a costume to be super. Superman puts on a costume to fit in with the normal people. So Superman is his Clark is his alter ego, not the other way around. So,
but I've also never understood in superhero things in general, how like just wearing an eye mask hides your like that just conceals your identity from
Like
everyone.
Batman, like I mean, and granted, this in this day and age with technology and stuff and facial recognition, yeah, I think I can figure out who that is just on the chin, right?
And Batman's is better than a lot of people. There are a lot of people they literally just cover their eyes, maybe their nose, and
Batman is always I've always been like, I mean, I'm that villain like just shoot him in the mouth, you know.
yeah,
Everything else is covered, whatever. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm with
you gotta shoot what's showing.
Yeah, but this it's comic. I guess it's comic books, and that's just yeah.
Although I will say, in the defense of that, in the pandemic days, there were definitely some people in masks. I'm not calling names.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. But but that's just it's the opposite though. Like you cover everything but the eyes. It's like, but if you just cover the eyes, it's just like putting on some sunglasses. I recognize you, Spencer, with the sunglasses on.
They're like that's still your face, but yeah, like in a mask. I was not calling names because I couldn't guarantee that you weren't somebody else.
Like, okay.
Like, so yeah. Anyway, so then Superman says to Lois, "Hey, I'm dying," and then these two random Kryptonians show up. Because Superman leaves for like 2 weeks, I guess, and he comes back, and there's this husband and wife couple.
And he's like, I might not even come back, so I'm gonna go run this errand. I may be dead before I come back.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And when they got there, he was like, "Hello, greetings. I already know y'all. I'm Clark. It's so good to see you." Like he just knew who they were and was very friendly, and they were like, "Shut the fuck up! What are you doing?"
oh, you been hiding this bitch ass dude. That's what was funny to me. It's like he was doing the whole Clark Kent thing. He was like, "You weak motherfucker! You've been hiding as one of them this whole time." And he's like talking to a dude. Clark is like running off, and like nobody else gets it that he's talking to Clark. Like this is Superman. Like
that's another thing that bothered me. They were like, "Look at him. Just hiding with him," and then the heavy dude, who was voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, I'm pretty sure. He was like, "I know you may think I'm Superman, but no, you got the wrong guy." It's like, okay, yeah, that's why they're here. And then Clark is like, "Oh, nosebleed, gotta leave," and then Superman shows up.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure they're like, "Oh, you just missed him." And maybe they don't get it, I guess, for the same reason that people don't know Peter Parker's Spider-Man. If Peter Parker is the one taking pictures of Spider-Man, then they can't be the same person. Right. So if Clark is the one writing the Superman stories, being like, "I was there when it happened," then they can't be the same person.
Superman disappears for 3 weeks.
Clark is also gone for 3 weeks.
We think Clark is dead. Superman returns, and then Clark is like, "Oh yeah, I was buried in the rubble for 3 weeks. That's in prison."
Oh, so y'all just popped up at the same? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Superman heard me. That's what he said. Superman, my cries. I was buried under the rubble with a bunch of sardines and shit. And yeah. It's nobody's putting two and two together. Like, all right, everybody's a dumbass apparently in Metropolis.
Yes, so, that's the conclusion.
That's the conclusion, that everybody's fucking retarded.
Yeah. Oh God. So then they fight, and then they're weak all of a sudden. Like they were strong and beating Superman's ass. They took his house, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm weak now," and they just fall. And they got weak immediately. Like it did not take long for them to be useless.
Oh shit! I'm dying. Yeah, I was good, and it wasn't a gradual fall. It's just just 6.
Yeah, very immediate. Like flying, having a good time, everything's cool, drops, and is blind in a matter of hours.
Yeah, he just like goes blind. Like I still haven't figured out how going to the Phantom Zone cured his sight either. But
That's the thing that I don't understand, because I thought in the Phantom Zone you go as you are,
yeah,
and like nothing moves.
and
So
you're trapped and you're fucking miserable,
yeah, like
right?
however you are is however you are, and that's it. Like you don't age, you don't have,
Well,
like, it's like purgatory as far as I
yeah,
understand. So
but
if she went in blind, she gonna be in there blind.
yeah, even when he was talking about Senna, he was like, I can't cure you, but I can send you here until we can figure something out. Right? In other words, like this is like
This is where you gonna be.
yeah, like stasis, right? All right, you ain't gonna be dead, but we'll have you in here. You won't get worse because you're getting worse right now.
Yeah.
You go in here, you'll stay as you are, not miraculously be cured, and all in love. That was,
And
like I
that
said,
could be, because yeah, like my thought is if they're like bedridden, then yeah, they're gonna be in the Phantom Zone bedridden.
yeah, like I would rather him just send him to the Phantom Zone and say, all right, see you later.
Yeah, peace
Not
out.
showing them like holding hands and she can see again and they all love you. Like, but that was, why did y'all make a Hallmark card at the end? I don't understand what that was about. So, yeah. There are, like I said, this movie is jam packed with a lot of things and a lot of things that don't make sense. Okay, I'm gonna go down another rabbit hole right quick. Even worse than the car. Um, Jimmy Olsen is wearing a dress at one point,
That is true.
and they never explain it. Like, are you undercover? And he's like, no. What do you ask?
Now, I'm I will say I'm surprised that happened based on when this movie came out. Uh because I think that as far as today is concerned, that's perfectly fine. And I guess there shouldn't be questions about it. But in 2011, no, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's like in the dress. He's got the unshaved legs. He's clearly a man. And as you must have been undercover. He's like, nope. So just wearing a dress today to be wearing a dress, like it's cool.
I think so. I think that's just what he wants to do. And that's perfectly acceptable in Metropolis, year of our Lord 2011.
Is that where the term metrosexual comes from? Metropolis.
Oh, goodness.
There's lots of random things in this movie, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll say this. In 2011, when I saw this, I was probably like, can somebody help me understand what's happening right now? But today I was like unbothered by it.
Even as a joke, there's never a punchline to it. Like, okay, so this is going to be something we're going to talk about again, or it doesn't pay off. So,
well, the payoff that it got, I guess, was later when he's wearing something else, and somebody says, "I liked you better in the dress."
Right. But
like that. That's as far as we get with that.
That was I mean, it's like that's a pretty big setup for that joke. So.
But yeah, I will say, like, my today eyes were pretty unaffected by him in a dress. But in 2011, I was probably confused and was like, what are we doing, Jimmy?
What for is just random like that? All right. Yeah, I don't know.
But that's the thing, that is a relatively normal thing now, to see any human in a dress is like, all right.
Like you said, hey, you know what? They're ahead of the time. So
yes, indeed. So, Lex gets the chair, but he drank the 24-hour serum, which he was smart enough to hack into one of the robots to get the serum, but couldn't figure out that Clark Kent and Superman were the same dude. And it sounds like Superman was perfectly okay with the hack happening, because he said, "Oh,
yeah, man, I know you did it, but I'm cool with it." once again, I'm surrounded by these haters, man, but I'm just shaking them off. Yeah. I knew you stole from me, but I just let you ride anyway.
And that's the thing. If Superman knows how dangerous Lex is, then why would he knowingly allow that to happen? Like, even if he didn't know exactly what the deal was, the fact that he knew he had a robot malfunction.
It's a robot too, man. Just like go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah, handle it. It's not like it. If I have a machine that's having some issues, I'm going to troubleshoot. And if it's broken or we're done. That's why you have so many of them.
It's like, I got money missing out my wallet, and I know my vacuum cleaner been going around sucking up my shit. I'm about to go handle them on this.
Yeah,
my room is cleaning shit that ain't supposed to. Yeah,
we're done.
What are we talking about here, man?
Yeah, so that okay.
And I guess that we're back to Superman valuing all life, even if it's artificial. Is that we're back to pious Superman?
That's how it's got to be.
Yeah. So.
That's the only thing that makes sense because what?
Right.
So Lex Luthor has powers, and P.S. he made the sun red, with his friend Solaris, and Superman is like, Solaris betrayed you. Why would you work with him? He made the sun, he poisoned it. Superman, if you knew this shit was gonna happen.
Like, to some degree, Superman is like culpable because he's like just letting shit happen. Like I'm gonna let you fuck up, but I'm gonna give you an opportunity not to. I'm not gonna stop it. I'm not gonna prevent it. I'm gonna stop it, but I'm not gonna prevent it. Like, how many people fucking died? How much collateral damage is out there? Because Superman's giving people chances,
Yeah. Because living under a red sun is a problem. If the sun is red, that means it is not as hot, which means that the earth would freeze and a lot of things would die. And that's cool with Superman, I guess.
Man, but hey, man, I got to, gotta let this play out.
Yeah, and if the sun is blue, much hotter. Hot earth, everybody cooks. Like, you let this artificial sun demon just ruin the sun. Like, but he defeats him or whatever, and his robots help, and I guess die along the way. Because I think he says to the robots, like, no, stay here, don't go. Or no, he said, some of y'all stay here, the rest of y'all with me, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, even like, I actually like this part. He throws his like sun-eating pet at Solaris. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's the whole point of setting up the Sun Eater or whatever, the Star Eater, because he's gonna take care of Solaris. Then he like fucking kills the dude. Like, ooh, shit, like that didn't work.
Yep.
Then he actually kills Solaris though.
He does. He kills him.
Kills him. Like, we just kind of let that one slide. Like,
yeah,
right.
Like he John Wicked him.
Yeah.
Like, you killed my dog.
Yeah.
And Solaris is a lot smaller than I feel like he should be, but
because he was like, he wasn't very big. He was like dump truck size or something. I mean, he was
yeah, like not a huge son. And or at least when he lost his powers somehow. And so Superman, he drops and he's like, mercy, please. And Superman's like, no, fuck that. You killed my dog.
Yeah, I guess there is reason to fear Superman. Because you kill his dog, and
there it is. So Superman's pet dies, and Solaris dies.
You got to pay the price for that one, homeboy.
Yeah, I will say, if he was willing to kill Solaris, he should have been willing to get rid of a vacuum. But okay. So he fights Lex, and Lex is a problem. And the whole gravity gun speeding up time thing, I was pretty okay with that.
I actually like that, the idea of gravity, bending time, and I was like, all right, I give it the science on this. All right, cool.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch, right?
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that. And it also makes sense when you think about stars because the larger stars have much stronger gravity and do not last as long.
Right.
So, like they burn quicker, if you will.
I
And
mean, time moves slower, or whatever the hell. Right? Yeah. Some other
yeah,
stuff going on.
yeah.
I'm with
So,
it.
so, so I was
Even
like,
if
okay,
it's backwards, I'm still with it.
yeah,
So
I'm good with that. And then it wasn't until Lex's powers are wearing off that he's like, oh my God, I can finally see everything.
oh my god.
It's so amazing. This is how you see things every day. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So Lex finally starts to be like, I could have like done good things. And Superman's like, yeah, motherfucker, you could have. But here we are.
Trying to tell you. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I mean, what's stopping Lex from, all right, man, I could have done good things. Oh, let me just go ahead and make another one of these formulas then. Now that
Yeah,
I'm good.
that couldn't be the only one. Like, it's Lex Luthor. Like, I'm sure he's got plenty of it on standby.
Yeah, and you just told me like I hacked Superman's DNA. He gave my boy here's the recipe for Superman. So
Yeah.
Alex was like, oh, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take this electric chair.
Yeah. Because yeah, I guess this time he was like, yeah, I can't get out of it this time. Like that first time, I wasn't worried about it, but this time they really got me.
I mean, I can just walk out at any point. And I do have my niece who's like in a layer under the prison also apparently
Yeah,
chilling out. And she was dirty as shit. Did you see like the room? That shit was funny. Like it was all dirty. Like,
yeah. And
there's a lot of little details in this movie that was so random. But yeah.
and I think they were like, she's a 16-year-old girl or whatever, and so
Yeah.
I think, and he may or may not have made a comment about it.
He did. He said something about but he was like weird, like pizza box. It was like even like they showed the background. It was like okay, this is
Yeah,
interesting.
but I
But
guess she was living like a teenager in
yeah,
their minds. So whatever. But um, yeah. So Superman flies into the sun, and Lois is like, "No, he's not dead. He's coming back. I don't believe it.
I did.
Why would he be dead?" It's like Jimmy was like, "You went to the funeral." So, no, he's not dead. It's fine.
Coming back. He's just up there. He's fixing the sun. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. That's all that is. Even though the sun is fine now, Solaris is dead, but he's fixing it or whatever. And then he Dr. Quintum is given Superman's the genetic code to Superman, which Lex was able to figure out, but still couldn't
Right. So
determine.
is that Doctor Dude? I don't know a whole lot about him in the comics. Like I don't know anything about him.
I
He
don't
just looks like he should be a villain. Like
agreed.
like Mr. Sinister or something.
Yeah.
Like
This is the only time this is the only thing I've seen that he's in that I'm aware of. I
I
may
really
have,
look him up because he just looks like he's supposed to turn into a villain at some point.
yeah, and
Like,
I agree. Like he looks nefarious.
well, usually like when a doctor is good, he's like an old guy. This
Yeah,
dude is like young and spry, and he's slender. He's good looking. They made him look a certain way. Like yeah, like he's devious. Like he's up to no good. He's slick. He looks slick.
I agree.
So wait, is this dude gonna turn into a bad guy? Is he gonna take this serum and inject himself? I don't know. So
But we'll never know because it's over.
one off, and there's no Superman All Star Part 2. So yeah.
So, well, what would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
There's some definite plot holes. A lot of randomness. But like you said, they kill Superman. I'm good with that. In the end, I guess I give it a 6. It's entertaining. I'm not I give it a 6. It's not one of my favorites, but I managed to watch it more than one time. So if you can watch it more than one time, then it can't be just utter dog shit, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah.
I'm thinking the same. Maybe 6.5, but yeah, like not a 7.
No, not it's definitely not a 7. My brain went 6.3, but I was like, let me round that down to 6. Maybe if you want to give it 6.5, I wouldn't argue with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because I think I'm in the same, like 6.3 feels right, and I just kind of rounded one way.
Exactly. But if you wanted to say 7, then that would evoke a response like, oh hell no. 7 means like it's pretty decent.
Yeah, no.
It's okay. It's got some good points. It's got some really weird shit too. So
I will say for me, this movie and the next movie that I'll be reviewing are like the last two that are like not like there's because in these beginning movies there are only a couple that are like really good, but after we like episode 12 is when we start getting into like, ooh, I can't wait to talk about it because it's really good. So we're not quite there yet, but we're almost there.
We're ramping up.
Because like we get to a point where like it's just hitter after hitter, and we're really close now.
I'm excited about nice tease. I'm excited about the next reviews. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, but you can't. I don't think you can leave this one out.
Oh no, no, this is not bad by any means, and I want to review all of them because I want to kind of point to the standard of quality that I feel like DC Animation has. There are so many movies in this catalog, and most of them are at least pretty okay. Like this movie is not a bad movie, and it's on the lower end.
Yeah.
And so there are so many more movies that are better than this one, and this one's not bad.
Well, I don't think this is a hot take. When I think about DC versus Marvel, right? I think Marvel's doing a much better job of the live action.
Oh, there's no debating that. That's absolutely true.
Well, when you talk about animation,
in my opinion, when you talk about everything else, be it animation, be it video games, be it the comic book stories that are being written, like I think that DC is doing better than Marvel in all other categories other than live action movies, because
I think it's why it's so surprising to people that Marvel's doing better with the live action. I mean, I think that's why the expectations are so high for DC live action, and it's like they just keep fucking up.
It's really hit.
And the whole bringing in James Gunn, that could work, but he's already turned out. I mean, he's already turned me off by just saying, fuck Henry Cavill, even fuck Gal Gadot. Like,
yeah,
damn. Like, all right, man. Just redo the whole thing. Now, I mean, if he decides that he wants to cast Michael B. Jordan as Superman, do Black Superman, I'd be like, cool. But he ain't doing that. So
I don't know if I want to. There's some people I don't need him to be black, and I think Superman's one of them.
I don't necessarily want a black. I'd like a black Superman, like an actual different
like
Superman.
Somebody else.
Yeah, which there is a black Superman. There's a comic. There's a. I don't know if it's a multiverse. There's another tale there. So, I did like. I don't know if you ever watched Krypton on Sci-Fi Channel.
I did not.
It's live action. The Zod family was black.
Zod has been made black recently because in Young Justice, Zod is black, and I was like, "Ooh, I didn't know that I wanted this.
Yeah,
but this is gonna work for me."
Yeah, but it was like, oh, all right, yeah,
yeah. I fucks with a black Zod.
Yeah, it was cool.
So yeah, the fourth season of Young Justice, yeah, the Zod family is black, and I was behind it. I was like, I mean, yes.
On the hand, I'm like, I'm with it. On the other hand, it's like, oh, so black people gotta be villains. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm good with it. So yeah.
I mean, I attributed that to Black people can be anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I said. I decided to be good with it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we often see Black people as the sassy sidekick.
Yeah. I'd rather than be the villain, the intellectual villain who, the villains always have some kind of hubris, or they're,
It's a part of their villainy.
Overly arrogant or whatever is their downfall or whatever. Because the villains usually should be the winners.
Yep.
But some character defect, right?
That is true. And yeah, usually, because there are a lot of times I find myself siding with the villain, but then they make the villain do something particularly heinous to get you back. Like when I think about Killmonger,
Killmonger was doing the right things.
I'm on his side.
Yeah.
I mean, and there were some people that he killed that it's like, oh, okay, that you're reminding me that he's a terrible fucking guy.
But his motivation. I said the right things. It wasn't the right things. His motivation was pure.
Oh yeah.
Like his whole soliloquy about when our people were in bondage and slaves, where the fuck were y'all? Like, damn. I mean, if you really thought about that, right? You have all these people being enslaved. You have this wonderful technology. I mean, we're saying Wakanda's had this technology throughout history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all didn't do shit about it. That's pretty fucked up, actually. So.
I mean, they chose isolation, and under the they chose to protect themselves and decided not to deal with the affairs of the world, because I'm sure that the way they saw it, they were separated from those people. But that was Killmonger's point. It's like, nah, yeah. we in this together, and we about to be.
Yeah, he was trying to make some change.
Direct action.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But
I think that's lost on a lot of people. So
yeah. Anything else on the movie?
The two things about the car and Jimmy Olsen's hairy legs. Everything else. Yeah. And like I said, it's worth watching. I'd seen the movie. I'd seen the movie a couple times before. So I'm excited about, like you said, the upcoming episodes and some of the other. So you doing like all the movies, or are you doing some of the series too? Or
right now we're just doing animated movies.
Okay.
So
some better movies coming up here. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of movies before this one that were better, but like the movies that are coming up, I am very excited about. So that's the whole reason for this rewatch of everything, is because it's about to be hitter after hitter, and it's going to be so much fun to get into.
I think so.
So
favorite Lois Lane. Just had to throw that out there one more time. Not my favorite iteration of Lois Lane.
Yeah. And I see why.
Yeah.
But all right. In the next episode, we will be discussing Green Lantern Emerald Knights. So until then, salutations.